Do these appear to be posts by Mr. Tellis?
Yes, ma'am, they were.
And it looks like this one at the top here is dated 6/18/22.
Correct.
Can you read it?
Wife hears rustling in the trash. Her, honey, is there a wild animal in the trash? Me, no dear, looks like it's at J. Gurman, RJ, going through our trash for his fourth story on me. Oh, Jeff, and a laughy emoji.
Okay. And the rest of the text, it sort of compares or suggests that I left a pizza box and a sushi container in the trash. The next thing I'm going to have like sort of criminal organization ties.
Correct.
And then the last, well, not the last one, but the second to last one on that page, I think on 6/25/22. Can you read that one?
Typical bully, can't take a pound of criticism after slinging 100 pounds of BS. Up to article number 4 now. You'd think he'd have better things to do.
And then this last one on the page, which is also on 6/18.
That one says, looking forward to lying smear piece number 4 by at J. Gurman, RJ. Hashtag one trick pony. I think he's mad that I haven't crawled into a hole and died.
Now putting on the overhead what's been admitted as states 353E. Looks like some more social media posts.
Yes, ma'am.
And that one is from June the 17th of 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what does that one say?
It says, does the at LVRJ know that at J. Gurman, RJ may be doing double duty on their dime? Do they know that he basically made a veiled threat to take me down or take down my site, with the truth after I had already lost the election?
And then there's like a screenshot, I guess, of
Text messages. Yes.
Messages between himself and Gurman.
That is correct.
And at least can you see all of that one, where Gurman responds?
Yes.
What does that say?
In the long response there,
Yeah.
It says, Rob, I'm putting together another story on your office. This has to do with the letter you posted on your campaign website addressing the hostile work allegations. Employees view that as a threat of retaliation and have reported it to Human Resources. I would like to get your comments on that as well as your take on the election results so far. I would need something from you this afternoon.
And are you also aware of a letter that Mr. Tellis posted on his website, sort of answering some of the things that were alleged in those articles?
Yes, ma'am.
And let me see if I can get that. Sarah, did you already do that? Does that appear to be the letter?
Correct.
And this is, for the record, 338.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And that was posted on Mr. Tellis's website?
Yes, ma'am. I think it was his campaign website.
Campaign website. And I'm sorry, but could you switch it back over? Thank you. I'm going to put on the overhead states 353F. Is this a non-moving version of that letter?
That appears so, yes.
Okay. And fair to say the letter disputes several of the allegations that Mr. Gurman wrote about in his articles?
That's correct.
Now, you do research and you learn about the kind of tension between Mr. Gurman and Mr. Tellis. Do you also, in the course of the investigation, learn that of any more information about the vehicle?
Yes, we did.
And do you learn that Mr. Tellis's wife has a Yukon Maroon in the same type and model as is seen in the video and around Bronze Circle?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, at some point, is there an effort made to gather a lot of video?
Yeah, yes, there was.
And can you kind of describe what that process was that that detectives and yourself went to get that level of video?
So with this, actually, we ended up kind of employing other patrol detectives to help us because it was that extensive. Typically, we go to the last place that we know that either the image of the vehicle or the image of the person was seen, and we almost kind of like just leapfrog down the street. We'll make a game plan ahead of time, even just knowing major cross streets, if there's businesses there, businesses that we've pulled video from before. So sometimes we have like previous contacts to where we can just make phone calls. But a lot of the time it's literally walking the street, driving the street, and just leapfrogging after each other to follow whatever we're looking for, whether it's a person or a vehicle.
And in this case, quite a bit of video was gathered.
Yes, ma'am.
And did Detective Mogg sort of take control of the video essentially and start compiling it in a chronological manner?
Yes.
Now, on September the 5th, did you learn something in terms of forensic evidence that you had in this case?
We did. We learned
what was that?
that there was a foreign DNA detected under Jeff German's fingernails.
At that time, did you know who that foreign DNA belonged to?
No, they ran it in the systems, our local and I think state CODIS system, and it returned with negative results.
And those are databases with known DNA profiles in them?
Correct.
And so you had requested that foreign DNA be run in those databases, but there was no response or no match.
Correct.
So once you have that foreign DNA, do you draft a search warrant in order to get a DNA sample from Mr. Tellis?
I did.
And that was based on sort of the video evidence that kind of tracked a Yukon going to Mr. Gehrman's residence and then back in the area of Mr. Tellis's neighborhood.
Yes.
And as well as other facts that you had developed in the case in terms of their tense relationship and the fact that he had that kind of Yukon?
Correct.
Okay. And when you drafted that search warrant, do you recall, like, was it day, night, or when you got that signed?
That would have been in the 2 o'clock hour, in the like 0200 hours on September 6th, 2022. With investigations like this, we typically work very, very, very long hours. So I know we had been there all day and all throughout the night. Now it's about 2 o'clock in the morning when I was able to complete the search warrant and send it off to get signed.
And when you say get signed, who reviews that?
A district attorney reviews it, and then a district court judge reviews them.
And so without a judge signing off on it, you're unable to complete a search?
Correct.
The search for September 7th, was that for Mr. Tellis's house to get a DNA sample and also to collect his phone?
Yes, it was.
Okay. At some point, do you learn that Mr. Tellis has been pulled over on September the 7th?
Yes, and that was the same morning. I think I misspoke a moment ago and said the 6th, but it was into the 7th.
Okay.
The morning.
To be clear, the warrant signed at like 2 in the morning on the 7th?
Correct.
And then he's pulled over so to effectuate that warrant about 5 hours later.
About, yeah.
Okay. Sorry. May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Detective Gaddis, I'm showing you what's been marked as states 214 through 216. Just tell me if you recognize those.
Yes, ma'am.
Do those appear to be pictures of the area where Mr. Tellis was pulled over on the morning of September the 7th?
Correct, it is.
State moves to admit 214 through 216.
Objection.
I'm putting on the overhead states 214. That appears to be the car. Is that the car that Mr. Tellis was driving that morning?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it patrol officers that pull him over?
Correct.
Where are you when they pull him over?
Asleep.
At your house?
Yes.
Okay. Do you get a notification that he's been pulled over?
Correct.
And what do you do?
I got in my car and drove out to the intersection that he was stopped at.
Okay. When you get to that intersection, do you try to make contact with Mr. Tellis?
I did.
And did you record your conversations with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you explain to him that you had a search warrant for his DNA?
Yes, I did.
And did you tell him that you were going to go get or have someone get him a copy of the warrant so he could have it?
Correct.
At some point, do you explain to him that you'll be taking photographs of him without his clothing on and suggest that you go to a different location?
Correct. I didn't want to do that on the side of the road.
Okay. And is the location that you agreed to with Mr. Tellis, the Summerlin Area Command.
That is correct.
When you are going to the Summerlin Area Command, do you arrange for a crime scene analyst to come and take that buccal swab and also take photographs of Mr. Tellis?
Yes, I did.
And was that Jennifer Manning?
Correct.
You go, I assume, to Summerlin Area Command with him?
Yes, ma'am.
And does Ms. Manning show up, take photographs, and take a sample from him?
Yes.
Now, once you have that DNA sample, had you made any kind of arrangements for the DNA to be tested kind of immediately?
We did. We asked CSA Manning just to drive directly back to the lab to give it to the forensic scientists.
And is that unusual to have like a sample taken and DNA turned around that fast?
Oh, yes. I've never seen one come back that fast.
Okay. And that was because this is sort of a dynamic investigation. So
Absolutely.
it needed to be a priority.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Now, while you're collecting, well, you're sort of there, but the crime scene analyst is collecting the buccal swab and the clothing, were other detectives effectuating a search warrant at Mr. Tellis's house?
Yes.
And that house is on Spanish Steps?
Correct.
I'm putting on the overhead what's been admitted as States 217. I know you weren't doing the search warrant, but do you recognize that location?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
That is Mr. Tejas' house.
Okay. Now, I'm going to just zoom in. Do you see security cameras on his house?
Yes, I do.
Could
They
you
are
circle them with your mouse?
right over here?
Okay. So those are present on the day of the search warrant, which is the 7th.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to put on the overhead what's been admitted as States 348.